This was my first hone that I used for engine block, and it's been used for a lot of other things since. It is my loaner hone now. And I don't do a lot of engine block honing. I do a fair amount of honing, but I'm going to talk about engine block honing today. We don't have an engine block we're doing here. First off, when you're talking about honing an engine block, there is honing it from this one here I used after ridge reaming, cutting the top ridge that wears below the rings in the cylinder bore. And so I had an overhaul on an engine that I was doing. And before this, I had used, or tried to use, and I was not pleased with the spring-loaded hones. I knew that rigid or semi-rigid hones existed and that they would do more of a job, but I didn't know that much about them. I did know that you were supposed to have this 45 degrees as you go back and forth to make them pretty, and you had to have the right size. So I dealt with the pretty 45 degrees and leaving it within the right size, put new rings in it. And they used to do something with that too, is you'd leave your pistons, let them be a little bit looser, and you would run a 2 or 3 or 5 thousandths oversized ring, which you can still do today. Even though you can't buy those rings, what you can buy is a 10 thousandths oversized ring and then narrow the end gap so that it works with the in-between sizes. You can cheat a little bit. The ring gives, flexes. Don't buy your extreme high-end rings if you're doing that. I want to get back to track. What this little point is really about. What it is about is, in the modern world, these halfway, make it go, the thing burns a little bit of oil, it's not perfect, it's not meant for a catalytic converter, it's not meant for oxygen sensors. The engine wasn't meant for a lot of things that we do today. It's older technology. In today's technology, not only in racing, but in emissions, all of this, they're doing extreme measuring for the surface finish that the hone goes in an engine block. And they've decided that you should have a certain amount of roughness to hold oil and a certain amount of smoothness on the flat areas so that it can slide with that oil film. If we go way back into the honing situation, and there's a beautiful video of this, which I'm going to send Bert the clip and he can put part of that in, of a Lincoln factory that is honing with lines going straight up and down. That they figured that was the best in the early days for taking off your minor amount of metal for fit, was lines straight up and down. They hadn't even figured about making them crosswise. The crosswise comes in because of hones similar to this, or the Sun & hones that have, instead of the felt wipers, they have aluminum wipers on the side that wear down and meet with your hole. And the reason for the 45 degrees with these is because that gives you the best, your sizing. Your stones wear to an even size the same. So my point here with this being, while we have the perfect combination for given grit sizes that they use today with certain diamond stones and cubic boron nitride stones that they use, what works really good, that doesn't mean that it's the absolute perfect on the finish for a cylinder bore. Because it takes the first assumption that we need to have this 45 degrees back and forth. Now that was what was set up for these type of stones that wear down, but with the new super stones, is it really 45 degrees that's perfect? Should we have it 10 degrees? Should we have a different shape? If this 45 degrees that's already baked into the design, if that is perfect for an oiled wearing surface, then we should probably go back to our lathe where we decided that it should be ground or scraped, and instead take a flapper wheel and make scratches one way and scratches the other way, and use exactly the right grits so that those scratches are 45 degrees and the right depth and width so that it always works. Now, I'm not saying that you want to go in and scrape your engine blocks. I'm just saying generally in engineering, as we come up with a solution, it's based on so many assumptions before we need to know what we're working with. And the assumption that started in today's precision perfect honing is that we need a 45-degree crosshatch. We really don't know that that is what we need. I'm not saying that you need to change everything because what we've got works. But if you are doing cutting edge work and you want to go beyond what we have today, don't automatically figure that you need to go at 45 degrees. That is a legacy from an old honing system. That's where that 45 degrees comes from. Just like before this came along, we did the honing with the cylinders straight up and down. Also, in that years ago, and a lot of this stuff is reinvented, people, I forget, somewhere were talking about NASCAR, how they were using NASCAR engines, they were preheating the block. 1908 Oldsmobile did that, and they cylindrical ground the cylinders, which was also shown in this Lincoln clip that Bert's got a link to. There's so much of what we do, the history, if you don't know it, you think the answer is definite. If you know the history, then you start realizing that some of what we're doing today is still colored by history that may not be as absolute as you think. I'm not saying that 45 degrees with a diamond hone finish with the KCP, QP, whatever surface finishes that they're calling it today, and I think they're even using metric standards. But I'm just saying it's not definitely definite yet. Keep the innovation going. Think about this. Or do what you know is good if that's the field you're in. That's fine too. If what you're doing is producing a hot rod engine, a crate engine, and this surface is good, you don't need anything better, run with what you know works. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to come up with something different, because they do a pretty good job today. But if you're wanting to do the real cutting edge, look at all the possibilities. We might still be in this concept of essentially the same as the sanding up and down and thinking that's best because it's in our mind. We have to do 45-degree scratches. Might not be. We might want to go in there, well, we might want to go in and do something different. I'm not going to even suggest the things. The bigger point is not whether it's good or bad what we do, but that what we have decided to do is based on a historical fact that is currently irrelevant.